All right, I think it's good now.
Perfect.
Still there?
Yep.
All right, great. Let me just make sure it's public. All right, we're on.
Great.
So I'm Jeff. I run CMY Hoop Talk. Finally meet you in person, kind of, sort of.
I know.
I guess we'll go right in. You want to just give a little background of who you are?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
My name is Coach Cohen. I'm from the Syracuse area, but I'm currently from SUNY Potsdam. I'm the head women's basketball coach there. This would be my 5th year. Would have been 5th season, but unfortunately, due to Corona, our season was canceled pretty early on. So we've been able to practice, which is great, but it's just kind of not the same. And just trying to keep on recruiting, and that's tough too when you're not allowed to go to games and you're trying to watch everybody through live stream, and sometimes it's choppy, but we're trying to make do.
You got to make it work.
Yeah.
I guess so. When did you guys? So what conference is Potsdam? SUNY Potsdam in? What conference are you guys in?
We're in the SUNYAC.
Gotcha.
So
it's
like the 10. There's like 10 schools. It's like us, Plattsburgh, Cortland, Oswego. Yeah, and then there were some Rochester, Buffalo area schools, and Oneonta and New Paltz.
So when did the decision come down that SUNYAC was going to cancel it? Was it fairly early?
Yeah, I was gonna say it was probably, we got about a week into actual practice. So I think it was towards the end of mid October, end of October, which was kind of a bummer because we still had something to play, practice and play for, which was nice.
Yeah.
We weren't going to be able to have games until after January, so the first semester was just going to be practice anyway. But but we were still able to practice for the whole semester. Luckily, our school has been awesome with COVID stuff. Just from the vaccine, our percentage is super, super small. We haven't had too many cases, which has been great. So all sports have been practicing here.
When it finally came down that you guys weren't going to have a season, did you guys have to meet with ADs, or did ADs of the conferences just all come together and just decided it was a no-go, or was it more up to the schools?
Yeah, it was basically up to the schools. So it was I think all the presidents voted whether or not they were going to have it. But not only did they vote to not have a conference, we basically decided that nobody was going to try to play a non-conference schedule, which which kind of stinks because we're up here and there's 3 other schools close to us: St. Lawrence, Canton, and Clarkson. So it would have been nice if we could have gotten to play a couple, even some scrimmages. But obviously, I know Corona is pretty crazy, so you don't want to get.
How did you guys finish the 2019-2020 season?
We finished just outside of playoffs, which was a bummer, but I think we missed it by 1 game maybe. But yeah, we had won. I believe we won the most games we had in 11 years, which was pretty cool. We were a really young team last year. I think I started 3 freshmen and 2 sophomores all year, which was great, but also probably gave me a few gray hairs, but aged me quick.
So for girls in the area, is Jakia Howard from Nottingham, is that the only girl that you have from Section 3?
So Jakia is from Nottingham. I had another, they're sophomores now, but last year saw another one from Cortland, Tasai Lewis, and Bella Barner, or Isabella Barner is from Liverpool.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then this year we also have Ziel Bradford from SAS. So she's a freshman this year. But unfortunately did not get to play in a game yet. So
you're in this would have been your 6th year, or this was your 7th year?
This was my 5th season.
5th year coming in.
Yeah. So
who are your assistants? Are they local or out that way?
Yeah, my assistant coach is Mike Busby. He's from the Watertown area, but he's been in the North Country for a long time. I've actually known him for probably 10 years. We actually met. We were both counselors at SUNY Potsdam basketball camp a long time ago, which is pretty funny. And he was the head coach of Clinton Community College girls basketball. So I got to steal him away from there. So he's been great.
So a JD graduate, right?
Yep.
What year did you graduate?
2008. It's been a while.
Yeah, I graduated in 2007. So you had a tremendous high school career, didn't you?
Yeah, it was all right. Yeah.
Your first year of varsity, were you in ninth grade or was it eighth grade?
Ninth grade. I think eighth grade I played junior varsity. So
JV coming up. Who was
yeah.
the coach at JD? Who was the coach at JD then when you were there?
Yeah, so my sophomore year was Coach Seichin, his first year. So
There.
yeah, and now he just left JD
Yeah.
for another set of colors. So uh
And CNS is undefeated again.
yeah, they've had a great year. I've seen a couple of their games. They're just tough, man.
Did you guys? So was that? Did you guys win any titles in
Uh
your high school time?
Unfortunately, no. I always joke with him because it's like after I graduated,
Yeah, they went on a run.
they went on a run of like, you know, how many, 8 in a row. I don't even know how many sectional championships, and I always like to remind him that I never won anything. I think my junior year, I think we lost in like the finals to, I think, CBA. Yeah.
Who was so the top, like obviously you were a top player on the team back then. Who else was like a top player in Section 3 that was with JD and you that those years?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think who else was like. I mean, I like to say, especially when JD went on their run, I always joke, I'm like, the league's down. I felt like when I was a senior sophomore, it's like everybody around me were like, D2 and D1 players.
Yeah.
Let's see, like I believe like Tyler Ash is in the area.
Okay.
Let's see who else. Like Tori Lee, she played at Lemoyne. Mm, Who else was there? There was there's just like a lot of good girls in the area at that time. It was pretty cool. Yeah, so I always joked like when everybody else was winning sectionals, I was like, all right, it's because the league's down. But
What and then so you went to SUNY Cortland when you graduated, right?
I graduated from there. I kind of bounced around a little bit. My out of high school, I went to actually Assumption College, so they're in Lemoyne's league.
Okay. Did
I
you
went
play? Did
there.
you ball? Did you ball coming out?
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
I went there on a scholarship, and then didn't really like it, so I transferred home. I went to OCC for a year actually, and then after I went to OCC for a year, I transferred to Cortland with like a bunch of my teammates from OCC. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Their OCC has like potential to be good every year with the local talent and Syracuse and the areas, which I don't understand why kids don't just go there and stay home for a year or two, especially if we don't have the offers.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah,
with everything going on, OCC should be a powerhouse the next 2 years.
I
Kids,
know, right? Just take advantage of it. That's
no,
especially if they want to save some money. But unless their other option is to go to Potsdam, then I want them to go to Potsdam.
that was my next thing. How's so you guys are obviously watching live stream for games.
Yeah.
How's that been? How tough is that?
You know,
Like,
yeah, you make do, but some streams are better than others. Your stream's good, so that's good. No complaints, no complaints here. Sometimes you're gonna get the choppy one, so but you make do, and I think the best part about it is like you just want to make sure make the kids that you're looking at, you want to make them feel that you really care, and we're going out of our way to like watch this live stream even if it's really crappy, but you lose that person to person contact and those kind of conversations. We were fortunate enough especially in the fall and right now, that because our COVID numbers are so low, we're still allowed to have kids come up to visit campus, catch a practice. So that's been really great. Yeah, we
did
can't do
you,
we can't do overnights, but
yeah,
just for them to see campus, and we've been doing pretty well with like Zoom calls, and they can meet the girls via Zoom, and so it's been really great.
yeah, that's my next question. Is Zoom coming in handy? Is that how you got to do it? Zoom and FaceTime, probably?
Yeah, Zoom's been pretty great, just for not only just for recruiting. It's been great for us because half my team is like at home.
I was gonna say I did a lot of kids opt out not to come back following everything that was
Yeah,
going on.
especially after the season was canceled. A lot of them decided to stay home for spring semester, and I mean, I can't blame them.
Yeah,
We can, especially if it works for them, where they can still, find a gym or find somewhere to work out in while they're at home. They might as well save some money. But so that's been pretty great Zoom wise. We meet like every other weekend, like every other Sunday. We do a team meeting. Like yesterday, we just tried. I came up with like it's called Kahoot, which is basically like
yeah, yeah, cool.
yeah,
You play
yeah,
Kahoot at
it's like a
school.
Jeopardy like question. So we were just kind of messing around with that just to kind of kill some time, and it stinks because the best part about being a coach. Obviously wins, losses, yada yada yada, but it's like the relationships you build with your players, because especially here for like our program, like our big thing is like we're family, and it's not going to end after 4 years. These are people that probably will be in your life for a long time, hopefully. So I do miss them. I do miss them like poking their head in my office and distracting me throughout the day or anything like that. But it's been torture, especially like watching like college basketball on TV. It's absolute torture.
I mean, girls basketball is always intensity, but boys is down this year. Boys has been boring to watch unless it's like Oregon or one of those other teams that are out west that play hard every game. But girls basketball is always playing hard.
Yeah, I'm a diehard Q's fan, so
yeah, man.
I kind of have to be also. Like, I was born and raised there, but my dad played there way back in the day.
Yeah, I see you sent me when you sent me that bio. That's cool.
Yeah, so my dad's first year was Boeheim's first year also. So yeah,
where'd you go to high school at?
He's from up here actually. He went to Canton High School, so it's about like it's like 10 miles down the road from Potsdam. Yeah, so we're hoping for a nice ACC run here, so we can get into that tournament.
They're gonna need it just to get in.
Oh God. I think I checked yesterday. They were like first 4 out, or
Carolina beating Duke will help some way. But
yeah, we need some people. We need some people to win and lose, and we need to go on a nice run here.
The girls are the ACC tournament start for them already?
Yeah, they lost in the semis. Yeah, the semis.
The ACC. I think what's her name was hurt. Is it Tara? Was she hurt?
Tiana, yeah. I don't know what it was, because I think she got hurt in the beginning of this, or somewhere in the beginning of the season too, like a lower leg. So
she overcame a whole lot to get back too. That's terrible.
Yeah, it's a great, I don't even want to call it a story. It's but it is a great story. I've showed my girls, about that, her story. So whenever they're telling me that they're having like, I can't do this or I can't do that, then I'm going to be like, well, look what she can do. So I think it's great. She's been inspiration, and I've loved watching her career. She's awesome. I hope she wins I think she's one of the finalists for the Nancy Lieberman Award, top point guard.
I think she damn near averaged a double with points.
I'm pretty sure for most of the season, I think she led the country in like assists at least. So hopefully she'll get it. That'd be great. That'd be great for Syracuse too.
Yeah. So how many girls have you been practicing with that are actually attending school on campus?
Yeah.
Is that hard?
I was gonna say, I think it's like 6. So it's like we don't really do too much.
3-on-3?
Yeah. The only thing that means is that myself and Coach Busby have to jump in from time to time, because I'm a little rusty, a little out of shape, but it's nice for us. So, we use this as a time for just a lot of skill work, a lot of shooting, and just stuff that we really can't get to sometimes, during the season, so it's actually kind of nice, because, during the year we're working X's and O's and all this, and that's the stuff that gets lost, is like working on, fundamentals, shooting, and any type of skill stuff. So we can get on the court, and then we can get in our weight room, which has been great.
So how many seniors would you have lost if you had, how many seniors are graduating this year?
So right now we have 2 seniors. So one, I'm pretty sure, is not returning in the fall. Unfortunately, I'm trying to convince her every day to come back. I'd love both of them to come back, but I think, they, one's from New York City, so she's kind of like, I'm already at home, Yeah, we just, we don't have like the master's or the grad program that, she's trying to do. And so I'm still trying to convince her every day to come back, but we'll see. So that's the only nice thing about it, is that we're not losing too many people.
Not at all. We're at SUNY ESF. I told you, I'm an assistant at SUNY ESF, so we're losing 9. Well, actually, we're losing 8 guys.
Yeah.
And they all get they have like the majors at SUNY ESF, or intense. Some of them are going to like Italy next year to get their time for the job that they want to do. So we got to fill a whole roster. And I think only 3 kids are going to be coming back next season. It's tough too, but
yeah, that's the recruiting grind. Yeah. I think the only I want to call it a positive. It's a positive for us Division III schools, but like the D1s, and I don't know, I think Division 2, they're all on like not a pause, but they can't. It's like a dead period.
Yeah.
So that kind of helps us, if we're looking at kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to get extended too because like I coach for City Rocks and like EYBL circuit, those big time coaches can't come in. So the tournaments for EYBL are still on pause too, which is making AAU season up in the air again like it was last year.
Yeah, and it stinks, it really stinks for the kids. So I feel from them because they're not going to get as much exposure. And, I think the tough part is you want to go somewhere where, you feel comfortable with the coach, comfortable with the players. But, if you can't even go and visit, you know what I mean? Or like do an overnight, then, it's really tough. But just got to make do. So.
Has anybody signed with you guys yet besides Zael from SAS for this incoming year?
Yeah, so Zael's currently a freshman.
She's freshman now, okay.
So we have Zael is a freshman from the Syracuse area, and then we have 2 kind of local kids from up here that are also freshmen. But for this coming year, we've had a lot of people put in their applications, and we have a lot of like, yes, I'm coming, but but we have to wait. We got to wait. We're not like Division 1 where we have like a signing day. So yeah, so we're doing a pretty good job, I would say. So I'm glad about what's coming in, and looking forward to the season. But it just stinks. Just like it's been a year now. Since the whole pandemic started.
A whole year for college players has been literally a whole year.
I know. So I feel for them, and just kind of losing the year. It'll be interesting once to get everybody back in the court. Like you are away from organized hoops for a year, and just to see how it was. I'm assuming our first practice, like official practice, would be ugly, or like whenever they get back to campus and they can like play pickup. Like I don't even want to see it because it's probably going to be awful.
How was the
SUNY? And I'm sure you see it. You can see it in the high school.
We
kids.
The city schools didn't practice at all. So like CNSs in Liverpool, they had their big gyms, but like the Syracuse City School District didn't let the kids do anything.
Yeah, so it was tough, and you can see it in some games. You're like, you can't really get kids in shape. It's not like they can go to a gym beforehand. So it is tough situations you're kind of making do. So it's probably you'll be like playing your best basketball, especially like the high school students will be playing their best basketball come like the final game of the season.
I think most of them is this week too, which is crazy.
Yeah, it should be.
And then the boys football started today too, so they're gonna have to jump right into that.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I'm interested to see how that all kind of works out.
It's gonna be crazy. How was the SUNY Act in 19 and 20? Who won the conference?
I believe New Paltz won. Yeah, New Paltz won. Cortland was another top team. I'm blanking. I think Geneseo came in 3rd, but I think that the 2 that made the NCAA tournament were Cortland and New Paltz. Yeah, and I think that's a great thing.
Is she local too?
She's from Buffalo, the Cortland coach. Yeah, I think she played at Buff State.
Okay.
But I was just gonna say, like, that's the cool thing about our conference is, I think top to bottom, we're probably one of the tougher leagues in New York, because we're gonna have games where like the top team's playing the bottom team, and it's gonna be a fight, and the cool thing is, we don't just get one team that's usually, at large. We're going to get an at-large team usually because we usually have a pretty competitive conference, which is nice. So
you guys cross over and play. Is the Empire 8 still a conference?
Yeah, the Empire is there. Sometimes like we don't have like crossover games like scheduled, but we can schedule non-conference. Like we play Clarkson non-conference, we play St. Lawrence non-conference, and they're both Liberty League.
Yeah.
So a lot of teams will kind of cross over in the area. It's usually like a public school versus private school thing. So
how many games do you guys usually schedule? Is it 30?
25 regular season.
Okay.
So depending on like this past year, with COVID and everything, we were going to plan on playing like East-West. So we were really only going to get like 8 total games. So that's not usual, but the usual for us. Yeah, usual for us is we play everybody twice, home and away. So we usually get 18 conference games, and then we have 7 kind of non-conference games to play in. So this past year we were supposed to go to Florida, so we're trying to Yeah, so we're trying to, for the like this past year, we are supposed to be like fundraising for this season. We would have gone. So hopefully we're trying to get it back on track. If not this coming year, then the following year, because that's where I want to be in December.
Yeah, you can't beat that. So say in the last couple of years, obviously you've been to a lot of the girls' games, and with recruiting wise, what area in New York would you say has had the best girls the last few years? Would you say recruiting wise?
Gosh, that's tough because I got kids. I got kids from everywhere. So
Coming around.
if I say one place over the other, then I'm gonna be like, but or as a homer, I'm gonna say Syracuse has the best.
There has been a lot of girls. I mean, obviously, Coach Wright is my boss.
Yep, Randy.
Just I-90, like he sent his whole 17U Division One this year.
Yeah.
He would text me every other week, like she's signing here, she's signing there, and I said, "Geez, he's got literally the whole 17U team is going Division One."
Yeah,
like those kids are all, and those kids, most of them are like local, and then he's got I think one in Albany and a couple in Buffalo.
I was gonna say, just because I'm from this area, I'm familiar with Section 3. I know a lot of coaches, so that's kind of like been my target. In the past, our school hasn't had that many kids from the Syracuse area, so when I took over the job, that was kind of one of the things I wanted to do. I wanted to reach out into the Syracuse area, so we did a good job at that. I usually go to New York City is usually pretty good for us. Our school population, I would say, I think over the last few years, it was like above, it's probably like 50% of kids that go to Potsdam are from kind of that New York City, Long Island area. So I love getting down there. I was gonna say we had a lot of kids from New York City, a couple from the Bronx, a couple from Brooklyn. So I love going.
When they get to like a area like Potsdam, because I mean it's not, you guys aren't that
exactly.
Right? It's a different world for them.
They love it. A lot of times they'll say like one of their favorite things about coming up there is that it's quiet.
Yeah, they don't got to worry about anything major.
Yeah, exactly. It's a completely different setting, and once you're up here, Potsdam, like obviously it's a small town, but it's a college town. So I think between us, Clarkson, and then 10 miles down the road with St. Lawrence and Canton, I think the number is like we have like over 16,000 undergrads. So it really is a college town. So the kids love it.
How far are those other schools, like 10, 15 minutes away from you?
Yeah, Clarkson's literally across the street from us. That's what we say. It's like literally across the road, but they're just kind of on the other side of town. And then 10 miles, so about 10, 15 minutes, you got Canton and St. Lawrence.
Is Hartwick up that way too, or is it the other way?
Hartwick's Oneana.
Gotcha. So when you guys do get back up and going, how do you think that, like, what are you guys gonna have to, or like you guys got to do? Obviously, you guys got to do temperature checks and all that good stuff now. Has there been any cases like at the school that have had to shut things down, or everything's been good out your way?
Like the fall, we did an awesome job. Like I think we had less than 20 like all semester. So we were we were fortunate enough, so we didn't have to shut anything down or anything like that. So that was great. And then coming back from break, I think all schools kind of had this, we test everybody upon arrival, which was kind of the best thing. I think schools that didn't test on arrival in the fall like had a trouble with a lot of cases. But I think when everybody came back from winter break, just like in the country, like cases were up. So we had I don't know the exact number. I would have to look online, but we had a few, not necessarily like athletes, but just kids in general, like who live off campus. But they did what they did. The student populations, did what they needed to do, and we were up and running the next week. So it's been really great. Like I think I know from last week, our like percentage, like percent positive for COVID was like 0.55 or something. Our positivity rate was 0.55, which is that's pretty great. So I mean, especially the kids on campus that are here, a lot of stuff is more open, like all of the dining facilities and all that stuff, and you can have more kids in your room than a certain number of kids in a room. So it's it's been good. So hopefully we kind of keep doing that. So
What so like say from like instance from coming to a Section 3 game and going down to like a Section 2 game, Would you say there's any big differences in basketball from up there to down here?
Yeah, I would say, a lot. It's different. I think it's officiated differently. It honestly, yeah, because like you could play. I've seen like a game. I don't know. Maybe it's just kind of anywhere. You go to a game, you're like, wow, like this is really physical. Because maybe it's just between two pretty physical teams, and then you can go to another game and look, and it's like the same calls aren't called. But I think you can kind of say that about like a lot of spots. But I think what's great about like women's basketball is just like kind of booming. A lot of girls are playing. There's so many more AAU teams than there used to be. Like when I was playing AAU, like there was like 3 local teams in Syracuse, and now it's like there's
We're back in the day.
let's see. I played 1 year with like the I think it was the Unity Wildcats or something. They don't even exist anymore.
Wow.
And then I played on a team. We were called the Syracuse Rochester Area Players, so SAR. Yeah, the SRAP. So it was me, and I think Tyler Ash was on the team. So she went to SU for a bit and played at Liverpool. Sarah Paulus, she played at CBA. And then a couple players from Rochester. One of them was Shanice Johnson. She played at Rush Henrietta. Probably the best female basketball player I'd ever seen. And
my little sister was cheerleader for Rush Henrietta.
Oh, nice.
So I know her and Bria Jackson.
Oh, good. Well. Yeah. And Shanice went on to play at Miami and Big East. Still in the league, I think, isn't she? Yeah, and she's still in the WNBA, so she's awesome. Love Momo, great person.
Yeah, I played for Central Western, and that was like everybody from Syracuse and everybody from Rochester went. And then now, like, there's probably 300 teams just in Central New York.
I know, which makes it a lot difficult as a coach trying to recruit, because I gotta like look up who's on what team. Somebody else is making a new team, or they're playing on multiple things. So I do miss going to tournaments. I just miss live sports in general.
Yeah, we got tryouts this weekend, but yeah, going to AU tournaments is always fun, brother. I mean, even just going to watch them, whether you're not a coach, just being around it is fun.
Yeah, I know, I enjoy it.
Now has tournaments, so it's hard. Yeah, it's really hard to choose where to go. But like one thing I learned I did Central Western, and then I went to City Rocks 3 years ago. But what City Rocks does, they put the kids in the right positions for the right tournaments.
Right.
I didn't even know what a live period was until I went to 4 years ago. And I said, there's a whole coaching section with all these coaches. And I said, what's this mean? And then said, that's a live period where the coaches can come in, which I mean, a lot of people probably just started finding out what that's about, because now everybody wants to go Division I or Division II or bust, which is another bad problem around here.
Yep.
But I think parents got to understand, like, put your kids in a program where it's not just going to play. You're not going to play the same teams every week, and the coach you're going to be there watching them. Yeah. Which is what the purpose of AAU is, to get to college, to get more exposure when you're not in high school season.
Yeah, and really it is. It's about exposure, and it's kind of like just being at the right place at the right time with the right coach seeing you. And that's the thing. It's like you see one coach sees you, like you had a great game, like you might get an offer,
Yeah. Even I got kids that I know, like some kids haven't even gotten the games in like the EYBL circuit and got scholarship just because of the dunking in warm-ups or putting them between their legs for alley-oop and warm-ups, and the coach just says they're going to get them.
Yeah, it's like, so you just have that one good game, and this one coach sees you, and it's like you might get an offer, and then one school hears you get an offer, then they're like, oh, we got an offer, so it's kind of like, but it'll be interesting this year. What I'm kind of finding is that kids who usually are trying to recruit, and they're kind of maybe they're not a D3 kid, they're actually more of a D2, and they're usually getting offers. The scholarships aren't there right now because kids are staying an extra year. So those scholarships that normally coaches would have for next year's freshmen, like from the seniors graduating, like not those seniors aren't leaving. So
JUCOs are going to be packed.
Yep. Yeah, so I think a lot of JUCOs, and I think a lot of kids might even play down a division, or they might go play D3 hoops 1 year, and then maybe their scholarship opens up and they leave the next. So
academic wise, like you guys, ACTs and SATs aren't, we
don't require them, which is nice, because I was not, I had a good GPA, but the SAT, I wasn't like the best at it.
Yeah, I was reverse. I had a good SAT, but I didn't have a good transcript, so I couldn't get into UConn and play football.
Right. It's tough. See, that's what I'm saying. So it's like things are, different, and they've made some good changes. So I think our school kind of realized that. I think they look more so at GPA and stuff.
I'm gonna say you gotta. I mean, you gotta have decent grades to get into Potsdam too, right?
Yeah, I think for like any school now, it's kind of getting difficult, but we are like one of the smaller schools um, in the SUNY, so you know we're not being super picky, especially right now. Like not a lot of kids are going to school because of financially from the pandemic, or you know they want to stay home, like you said, like go to JUCO for a year. So
I would say that's gonna be SUNY schools' best bet is to watch local schools like OCC, MCC, JCC, all the schools that are local. Broome Community College. It's just I can't wait to see what it's gonna look like.
yeah, and I think
You're gonna have 15, 17, 18 kids on the roster just to keep those kids around.
exactly, and that's another good thing about kind of the New York area is that we have really great hoops. Not even just like D1, Division 1 JUCO. We have really great, like, obviously I'm biased. I played at OCC, but we went to the national championship game my year. We lost in the national championship game, but we were 35-0 going into the final game.
Yeah. What that was 08 or 09, 010?
Yeah. So it was. I honestly, like, if you ask me about the championship game, like, I blacked it out. Like, I cannot remember it all. But it was tough because it's not like the NCAA tournament where you get like a freaking week off in between games. Like, it was just like 1, 2, 3 in a row.
Coming right back home to go to class.
Yeah, and we were just like, I just remember being like just exhausted, and we didn't even get to go to any place cool. It's like freezing. We flew to like Minnesota. It was
Who
in
was the
Minnesota.
OCC, who was the OCC coach back then?
Same coach, Mike Wheeler.
Oh, he's still, damn. So
Yeah,
he's got some wins too then under his belt.
yeah. He should. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's been there. He was there for a while before I got there, and now it's been, you know, almost 10 years since I've left.
Yeah.
It's 10 years
What,
since.
what's SUNY's Potsdam like their academics? What's their number one program?
Yeah. Usually we've been in the past just like a teaching school, so a lot of education majors, but we've really kind of added a bunch of programs. We have a sport management minor now. We have a great exercise science program. I think our administration, and they saw that we needed to kind of compete with other SUNY schools for students, and a lot of athletes love the exercise science major track because
That's what Cortland. Is that what your degree's in from Cortland?
yeah, I got it was kinesiology, exercise science, so same thing. So that was big for us because there's a bunch of things you can do out of it at our place. You can gear it towards like fitness track. Then there's like pre-health fields and stuff like that. So that's been great. And then we have sport management minor, but I think a lot of people do business as well.
So I guess going back to the basketball part of it, what do you look for in the seniors when you're recruiting them?
Yeah.
What are the top 3 things, or you say what are the top 2 things that you're looking for Potsdam's program and your philosophy of coaching?
Yeah, and I like to say this is kind of one of my things. Like, I don't want a kid that just kind of like likes basketball. Like, we want hoopers. Like, I want kids that are going to come in, and I don't need to like drag them to the gym and be like, hey, I need you to get some shots up. Like, I need to be the ones that are trying to drag them out of the gym, being like, all right, you're in there too much, and that's the kind of kid like we're looking for. Just kids that love basketball, like live, breathe, eat it, sleep, hoops. That's number 1. Number 2, we're looking at kids who are, never taking a play off. I want somebody that's running all over the gym, hustle, even just watching in like warm-ups. I take, I look at everybody in warm-ups. I'm like, what are they doing in warm-ups? Are they locked in? Are they kind of just like fooling around, throwing up hook shots and all that? And then another thing I like to look is like, can you guard somebody? That's kind of one of the major ones there. Like, are you in shape? Can you guard somebody? How's that looking? And if we're looking for shooters, then I'm like, all right, hopefully you can make a shot too. But those are some of the things that we look for.
So when your first year, were you an assistant at Potsdam, like the first year you came, or did you just you got the head coaching job your first year 5 years ago?
Am I gone? Oh, I'm back.
All right.
Yeah.
Did you
Phone-
come in,
phone-
were you an assistant at Potsdam or did you come in, or you got the head coaching job?
Yeah. So the year before I was I was actually fortunate enough to work with the Dallas Mavericks for a year.
Yeah, I saw that. You sent me that.
Their player development department. So it was really cool. It was a great internship. So basically what we did is we were in every single group or individual workout. We got to be a part of it, whether it was like, ordinary stuff like rebounding, passing, playing dummy defense, closeouts, or just helping out with a drill. And then we got to sit in on every single practice, which was great as a person that wanted to be a coach, just to be around a championship organization and championship head coach. So it was really.
Even looks like he's the man. Did you meet him? Were you around him a lot?
Yeah, I got to see him a few times. He would pop in from time to time, or on game days he would. Cuban loves to get shots up, just as like the guys are getting shots up pregame. So we would kind of rebound for him sometimes during warmups when he would come in and get some shots up. So he's got a good jumper.
How did you find out about that position? Get hooked up?
Yeah, so I think they still do it. It's kind of like an internship program where they reach out to see if, like, I think there was 10 of us. So I heard about that position through Coach Carlisle. So he's actually from up here. Coach Carlisle is. He's born in Lisbon, which is near Ogdensburg, which is about
Yeah.
it's about a half hour from here. So he actually grew up with my dad, so I've known him for a little bit. And he had heard that I was getting into coaching. So one summer, I think it was like 2014, maybe 15, he asked if I wanted to come out to Dallas to watch their kind of before like this summer league that they play in Vegas.
Yeah.
They always do a rookie kind of free agent, like little mini camp before they go. So he asked me if I wanted to come and watch and, learn some stuff. So I was like, oh yeah. So I went down there and then ended up going to Vegas with them. And then while I was there, their player, he had mentioned the player development department was, starting to do this little internship program for the next season. And so he was like, you can interview for it. So I got to sit in and interview for it. So it was pretty cool. I was the only girl out of like the 10 of us. And then it was just really cool just during the year. I think I looked around the gym one time and I counted and there was like, 50 people in there and I was like the only female. So yeah.
That had to be a sick experience.
Yeah, no, it was great. And, I got to, joke it up with Dirk and, watch his workouts. And he's,
Right. That was his last year. Was that 2 years ago?
Yeah, I think, I'm trying to think. I think he played 2 years after I left.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just like watching him, like who's a Hall of Fame guy, what does he do when he gets in the gym? And, he's a goofy guy, like off the court, but like, he's locked on the court.
What is an NBA practice like? I don't think I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
Like a full NBA practice.
You'd be surprised because the first kind of individual workout I sat in on, or I saw Coach Carlisle, kind of do like an individual. And the first thing they did was like micing, you know what I mean? So it's like,
Really?
I think people take for granted kind of all the fundamentals and stuff. Like the NBA guys are still doing fundamentals. They're still doing like the little things. You got to have a good base before you can kind of go out here doing all this Euro and,
Yeah.
Same foot, same hand finishes and all that stuff. So that's cool. And, they get a lot, I think it just depends on the time of year, in the beginning of the season, they're getting up and down more, obviously trying to get in shape. But, as the year goes on, a lot of it's, game, strategy and, less kind of conditioning, pounding, because they're playing.
Yeah, 82 games.
Back to back.
How's did you ever sit down like a film session with them?
Yeah, I did. So it was pretty interesting. So I've seen a film session from them like after games, what they need to work on. A lot of the pregame stuff is like talking about players and like their tendencies. That's a huge thing, especially now with like analytics and stuff like that. Like what does this player like to do? Do they spin over this shoulder? If they go right, they're probably pulling up. If they go left, then 50% of the time they're, going to do this. So it's actually pretty cool.
That's like I remember reading an article on LeBron and what he just saying how much he reads film and like the big defenders and like Kobe, what they studied film on. What
Mhm.
is the film room like a freaking movie theater?
Uh, yeah, it depends like where they're watching. There's like different areas. So now they have a whole new. When I was there, we were just using the practice facility that's at the same arena that they played in, but they have a whole facility now that's just like state of the art. Looks like a amusement park. It's just like so high tech. It's actually pretty great.
I mean, he's like one of the richest guys in the world.
Yeah, so you got to have the good stuff, I guess.
So that had to be a signature for me. So I did love that. So when did you after that did you just apply to the Potsdam coach that after you did that?
Yeah, I think it was during the season, so I think it was like February or March. The job kind of posted, and I just thought, oh, the it was a team that was in the conference that I played in, and my dad's from up here. My grandfather actually, Stan Cohen, he was a coach at SUNY, and then he was He was a head coach at SUNY, and then he actually came over to Potsdam, and he was an assistant coach with the men's team for about 42 years. Yeah, up until he passed away. He just loved hoops. So when the job opened, I was like, oh, I might as well, give it a shot. So
Yeah. How were they before you got there? Did they win any conference championships or anything like that?
I think that like a few years prior, they were all right. I think the men's and the women's program so myself and our men's coach took over the same year. Yeah. So and then but the prior season, the team had gone 1-24.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've made strides, which is really nice.
What's been your best finish in the last 5 years?
I was gonna say this past season, we won the most games we had in like 11 years. And our men's team, I think they just made it to I was almost said sectional finals. They made it to conference finals against Brockport this year before. So we've done a great job. And there's a history at Potsdam. Like the men's team, they won 2 national championships during the 80s. So there's just like this rich tradition of, hoops up in the North Country. So we're kind of trying to revive that right now.
Where's the men's coach from? Is he from up that way?
He was the head coach at Canton. So he was at Canton for I think 3 or 4 years, and then I think he was assistant at St. Lawrence. So I think he was born. He graduated from like Penn State. So I think he's from Pittsburgh, I want to say. But yeah, so but he's been a North Country guy now for a bit.
So since you've been on your journey as a head coach the last 5 years, would you say what's the biggest change that you've seen in girls basketball, like high school wise and college wise?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like
You can say that these kids are little spoiled brats too. It's okay. That's my thing to go to now.
You'd be surprised, the involvement of parents, which, it's interesting. You think it ends at high school, but it kind of sometimes trickles over
Too?
a little bit, but it's nothing. We've been
text from parents.
Yeah, I've heard horror stories. I have had great relations with like parents and stuff. I'm happy I have not had any, bad situation. But I think you can kind of look at basketball in general as like a whole, like it's a trickle down effect. So it's like it goes from what are the NBA guys doing, and then it's like going to be like the professionals, and it's like the college, and then So I think teams, especially in college now, especially for women's hoops, like the 3-point, threes are king. There's maybe and on each team, maybe one player that's really good at back to the basket. If not, like you're having that stretch 4 pop out for the 3 ball. Everybody wants to space the floor and have shooters, but so I think everybody's kind of trying to play at a faster pace. And you can kind of see that in high school too. There's a little bit more flow, but it's tough with like AAU. You don't really run plays in AAU, so you kind of go from play a little bit of free play, and then you try to go play high school, and then maybe it's a little bit different style. So high school might be, even sometimes depending on like your supporting cast, it might be a little bit slower than how somebody might play in the AAU circuit.
What have you had a true big the last 5 years since you've been?
Yeah.
Like what's your tallest girl been? Like over 6 foot?
Yeah. So our senior this year, she so I feel so terribly. So she's about 6'2", freak athlete, can grab the rim. Last year, so the beginning of the 2019 season, her first week of pickup, she tore ACL.
Oh
So
man.
that would have been her junior year, and then now coming into this year, what is her senior year, and it got kind of taken away. So
Yeah, those are the bad stories to hear right there.
yeah, so she is the one I'm trying to get back, have her come back again for a fifth year. So
She's from the city too, or you said Long Island?
yeah, she's from the Bronx. Yeah,
Damn, that's terrible.
I know. She's a great kid. So just so it's tough, but I'm still working on it.
Yeah, maybe she will. Yeah, I just feel like even the last 5 years, like these kids, just it's all me. Their attitudes are not this. Their attitudes are terrible. Some don't even want to work. Some are just in the gym to be in there, and I'm just like, why are you guys coming to practice every day? Why do you guys play every day if you're not just gonna give it all that you got? And like in a time like this, where it's a privilege to have a season, you still see like attitudes, power, just walking up and down, not playing hard.
And as a coach, and looking at kids that you're trying to recruit, like we kind of take all that into.
Yeah, you got to.
If a kid I'm recruiting, I watch their body language. I see how they interact with teammates, and are they demonstrative on the floor? Like that's important to me too. How they interact with teammates, how they interact with coaches. Because if this is a kid that I'm going to coach, I want to see like what's our relationship going to be like. If I'm like, if they do something that I didn't think they should be doing, like how they take it, they could take constructive criticism. So tough.
They don't like the kids nowadays. They don't like getting yelled at.
Yeah.
Like old school coaches can't even keep their old school ways around because it's always the parent. You get the parent involved, the ADs involved,
Right.
and it's a whole big ordeal that just comes back to the coaches.
I'm not a huge like yeller, but if I get to that point, then I think that the girls hit that point.
You're not playing no games.
Yeah, I've had a couple halftime blow ups, but I like to see them as inspiring because they know if I've gotten to that point, then they're like, oh wow, we messed up, so we better turn it around.
What's the what would you say the biggest jump from like a local, I mean not even like just a freshman coming in, would you say is it the speed of the game or like your way of doing things or your offense and defenses?
Yeah, definitely like the speed and like physicality of it, because you could be the best player on your team. Maybe you're from a smaller school, you know, you're not used to playing against, you're not used to playing against this type of player. Maybe the teams you're playing in high school, each team might have one college player, solid college player on their team. And now you're basically playing in an all-star game every single night. So I think that's the biggest thing is like the speed, style of play, depending on like which schemes you're trying to scheme up, defensively or offensively. But I would think like just talking to my girls, that's the bigger jump is like the speed and strength of like other girls, shots that you can probably get off easily in high school, like aren't going to be that easy when, you're driving to another 6-footer,
I would say, just knowing Jakia personally, 2 years ago, did she come in? Was she your best rebounder?
Yeah,
I think I've never seen a couple games.
yeah, as a freshman, she led the entire SUNY in rebounding. So
Oh, she did?
she led the whole SUNY, and the greatest thing about it is that girl's not even above 5'7".
Nah, she's just strong. She's just
She is a freak athlete and just has the best motor.
Nas is her. I don't got favorites, but Nas is one of my favorites. The younger sister that I had for 2 years, but
yeah, she's got Jakia beat on the height.
yeah,
But
they're so fat. They're fast as heck too.
they're super athletes.
They got a younger sister. They got a younger sister in 8th grade that's taller than both of them.
Yeah.
But she's just converting over to playing basketball from volleyball. I think she's probably 5'8" now. Maybe 5'9".
Yes, yeah. And I always joke with Jakia because she also got, so she led the whole conference in rebounding, and then she was 4th in the nation in offensive rebounds. And I like to joke, I was like, well,
I remember her doing good, but I didn't know that I didn't know she led the SUNY.
Yeah, she had an awesome year for us. And then, but I always joke, I'm like, well, you're probably getting your own rebounds, so she's getting her own.
Makes more left-handed ones than right-handed ones. I remember that.
Yeah, she had one game, I forget who it was against, but she had like 26 rebounds and like 16 were offensive. Like she just runs as fast as she can.
Wow.
Yeah, well, she can just jump, and then she's just really good at timing it and just out hustles everybody.
What else does what other sports does Potsdam have besides boys and girls basketball?
Uh, I think we pretty much have everything except for like we don't have baseball. We have softball. We don't have baseball, but we
Mhm.
don't have football. And then so we got both soccer's. We got
Cross
both
country.
lacrosse. We have men's and women's volleyball. You know, swimming, um, the usuals, and
Well,
men's and women's ice hockey too. It's pretty big here.
yeah, hockey. Yeah, I was gonna say hockey. Potsdam's known for hockey.
Yeah, so they've had a pretty good team. So we're trying to get our basketball programs back on top, though.
How's the gym? You guys got a newer gym or is it an older one?
I love our gym because it's old school.
Old
We're
school,
getting a new,
old school wood floor.
yes, and it's got the cool kind of the stadium scoreboard from like that hangs down the middle, like in the middle of the court, which is
Yeah,
pretty.
those are old school.
Yeah, I love it. And we got the wooden bleachers, but we should be getting, hope we're getting a new
Yeah.
floor.
Wow.
Yeah, so it'll be nice. It's like the original floor, so it's time. But so that'll be fun for us to do. We'll just have to see kind of with funding and stuff like that, especially since COVID happened. So
Everything's gonna take it. Have you seen Liverpool's freaking gym yet? The
yeah,
new gym?
I was like, heck yeah. I was joking. I'm like, it's almost as nice as the JD gym.
I was gonna say that they took over for that because JD's was the best. You took the
Yeah,
words out of my mouth. But yeah, they surpassed JD.
exactly. I was like, now JD old, but yeah, their gym's really nice.
Well, I guess anything else that you want to go? How many is your roster full for the 2021s coming in? Are you guys still
Yeah,
actively
we're
recruiting?
active. I always joke. I'm like, it's a little bit different for Division 3. If you're a scholarship program, like who's coming in. I could be thinking that somebody's coming, and the day before classes start, they could just,
They're not there at all.
I never have a sigh of relief until I see them on campus, like
In the gym.
my office. But I always say, like, if we find a kid and they can play, then we're gonna find a spot for them, even if it's like the week before classes start. So I'm always looking.
You work at Potsdam too, or do you got another job?
No, I'm full time. So our secondary job is I teach a couple classes, couple PE, so it's not too bad.
How many what's your roster cutoff normally?
Usually they like us to have like 15, which as a player I like never liked, but now I kind of see as a coach it actually kind of helps us because I can go like 3 teams of 5, and
Yeah.
to be honest, like with injuries, academic stuff, or kids transferring, anything like that, like we had 16 kids last year, and due to injuries, like we finished with 11 healthy bodies. So
Yeah.
it does help when you got a couple.
15's a good number then.
What?
15's a good number then when if stuff like that happens.
And it's a long, and I think people don't understand how long a season hoops is, because it's not just over one semester, it's over 2 semesters, and a lot of stuff goes on between those 2 semesters. So
Yeah.
if you can make it through with a healthy roster the whole season, then I would also go for the lottery, because you're probably the luckiest person alive.
I guess that's it for me. Anything else you want to touch on?
uh,
Yeah. What do you need? You need guards, bigs, all above.
I say if you can play, you can. I have no preference, nah. But I was gonna say, go Bears and go Cuse. Big game Wednesday for the Orange.
That's early too, isn't it? Is it noon?
Yeah, I think it's at noon.
Early on.
I will be.
I guess I'm gonna text you for a Potsdam hoodie and an extra large.
All right.
I'll pay for it just to donate something to the school. Do you
Oh, yeah,
guys?
big fundraiser coming up for the
I was gonna
Bears.
say, you guys, yeah. Let me know when you do it. Is it like an online store?
Yeah, we do. We usually do an online store, and then we have like our whole like athletics department is doing a campaign coming up in like April. So I will hit you with
Let
it.
me know when it's up. And then I'll check in with you again if any girls come to mind. Girls City Rocks have tryouts. Sunday too. I'll probably stop by there. And then I got your number and email now. So yeah, definitely. I'll try to get some film if I can. If not,
Perfect.
I'll tell you some names and try to get their high schools or where they're at.
Awesome.
But other than that, I appreciate you.
Oh,
I'm glad we
appreciate
finally did it.
it.
And then I'll check in with you soon.
All right, sounds good. Thanks.
Thanks. See you later.